Dan
You
Coughlin.
do know that Bill's not going to be here, correct?
That is correct.
Okay,
So we have a quorum, so we'll open the meeting here at 9:33 a.m. Present is Wayne Sawchuk, Paul Kears, Carol Rowe, and Dan Coughlin. And we'll set the next meeting
for the 24th.
for the 24th, 9:30 a.m.
Okay,
And then just as when I looked at June, it looks like it'll be the first and third Wednesday of the month, so the 7th and 21st.
okay.
So Wayne, I don't know if you want to.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay. That's kind of where we're at on those. Okay, first up on the agenda is the Cook Estates. And I see Tom is here. Good morning, Tom. Tom, you're on mute.
Good morning.
Hi.
Nice to see you all again. It's been a couple of weeks or months or so.
I know. Yeah, we've kind of humming along here. We have some serious house cleaning to do with Cook Estates, and one is we need the fully executed agreement, and we were supposed to have that done prior to the hookup, but apparently the hookup occurred without our knowledge, and we need to get this in action. So one thing that was holding it up is we wanted to make sure that we had the number of units counted correctly, and we came to an agreement on, I believe 79 was the number, but the chairman let us know last week that I guess they came back out to count one of the other units again.
That's correct. I think that I think the assessors have been out 3 times now.
Okay,
So I think they've made 3 adjustments. Steve Sullivan, who's our treasurer, was on, and based on the letters that we get back from the town, which I think they copied the town folks on, they adjusted the number of bedrooms down, I think by 3. And I don't recall if there was
79 is the adjusted total that I have. I'm just trying
Correct.
to get it right.
that's
right.
okay. So that's
That
what we
was
have
for
as well.
the 3 changes that came in late.
Okay,
Yeah, and I don't believe there's any more pending. Is that right, Steve? As far as
Yeah, I'm not aware of any. I think everyone's had.
okay. So what we have for Exhibit A right now is 79 units.
right.
Okay, so if we say that is the final count, then we could start to get this thing executed.
Right. Yeah,
And
the other
then-
things that Bill told me he needed was a copy of the operations manual for both the pump, I guess, and the generator, which we can get. I think we have the operating manual for the pump already. So we can provide a copy of that. And then I think the other item was the final executed as-built plan. Is that consistent with what you have there?
Dan, is that what you're waiting on?
Correct. Yep, that's correct.
Okay, so I wanted to make sure, I haven't talked to Sean Hardy about that yet, because I wanted to make sure we had this meeting and had kind of a comprehensive list of what was needed. So what Bill told me, and he told me to hold off till he discussed it all with you guys. So it was the operating manual,
Okay,
the as-built plan.
Tom, maybe if I can just clarify too on the as-built.
Yeah.
Typically, what we need to know is basically the piping going to each unit or to each pump that is in the system, not just the stuff that was just built. So there were other conversions and changes made to the system to tie everybody into the same location.
Okay,
We just want to make sure that the other information is there, just in case there's ever a problem, we can trace it back to a source.
okay,
so you need it for the whole property, including up to Deer Hill.
Correct.
Okay,
okay. All right, and then the exhibit appears to be finalized,
right. So I have 79 here.
right?
Okay, and then I have one separate item from the Cook Estate. agreement, and that would be, the Hagees were hooked up and they were to be paid in full. And I believe that's 2 bedrooms, so that would be 18,750.
Okay, so the plan
Uh,
there, the plan there was to pay their amount in full along with the 5% deposit.
Okay,
So we'll take care of them when we,
Yeah, when we execute, we'll pay ours, we'll pay theirs in full. Can
okay, so
someone-
I just want to make sure that, because they should have a separate application, which I believe they did, because we want to record it as a separate property in the event, he sells his property. We want to make sure that it's recorded separately from Cook. So
Can
how the
can
payment,
someone
how the payment is
confirm?
made is fine. We just want to make sure that we account for that property separately from Cook.
That's fine.
Carol, someone give me a confirmation of the bedrooms, because that, two would be good, but I had on my notes that it was a 3-bedroom, so I just want
Okay.
to make sure we.
So if it's a
Pay the right
3-bedroom,
price.
it'd be 28,125.
I'll look into that and get you the confirmation.
Thank you, Carol.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I don't know what the street address is for Aggie. It's Sawyer Street for sure, but I don't know what the number is.
I think it's 203.
And Carol, I believe they filled out an application on behalf of their property.
Yep, I'll look for it and I'll take a look.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
So, I think that's it. Wayne, do you have anything else on Cook?
No, I think that's fine.
Okay.
The only other item, if Carol, if someone can check for me, I sent you a spreadsheet. We had the calculation for the Exhibit A and the other information that had the 5% deposit, and then what the amount is to be paid quarterly by each resident over the 20 years. If someone in the finance area, someone could just check my numbers. I just want to make sure we have the right numbers. There's no confusion down the line, or we miscommunicate to our residents what they will owe going forward.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay, the other thing we may need to come back to on, within the past couple of weeks, the water department sent bills to our management company for everybody's water usage. Now all the homes, as you know, are metered up there. So and unfortunately, they sent them to our prior management
Hey,
company.
Steve, sorry. I gotta go look at those bill. I think those are the sprinkler bills.
Okay,
So those would be an association bill, that was billed. They billed that group. What I'm confused about is, looked like we made with the management transition, didn't pay last quarter. We have some in arrears, but I gotta go. I didn't get a chance yesterday to go through the bills that Robert had sent out, but we have each unit has 2 water meters in the unit. One is for the internal, their own usage, and one is for the sprinkler, and the sprinkler is an expense association. So I think that billing is okay as far as the way it went. I just got to confirm it. Sorry.
And then
Okay.
we'll have to review, I don't know what revision the Cook Estate agreement is in. I will have to find out from our attorney. My recollection is that we were going to be billing the Cook Estates over 20 years, not 20 individual people.
Yes, that is correct.
that's correct.
We-
That's for the hookup fee, but for the usage fees, it would, for the usage fees, much like any other utility, it would be a lot cleaner.
It is.
bill.
We
the
already
actual-
got it. We got it in our first water and sewer bill last. week.
Yeah, you'll get the water and sewer as normally per resident.
Yeah, correct.
That
ongoing,
came
right?
out. That's already in there.
Yeah, Steve just asked a question about what the residents would pay over 20 years, and that's
Right.
just for your internal use.
Yes, just so make sure we communicate what they're gonna owe. So we're actually acting as the
Okay,
billing and collection agent to do that.
okay, no problem at all.
Okay. All right, so we'll get together on the as-built. Dan, I'll have Sean call you if he has any questions as he's pulling that together. We'll get a copy of the operating manual, and we'll finalize the bedroom count on Heggies, and then figure out what our deposit, 5% deposit will be along with their payment.
Yeah, I just had one other question too, is on the pump station, obviously you have alarms. Are those just local alarms on the pump station? And if so, who is going to be doing your service for the pump station? It's gonna be Rosano Davis, or you have another vendor?
I expect it'll be Rosano Davis. I don't think we firmed up that.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah.
So Tom, is it realistic to see if we can get this done by June 1st or even by our next meeting on the 24th?
I'll have to call Sean and see what it's gonna take him to
Okay.
complete the as-built. I haven't talked to him in a couple of months. I don't know what kind of work they've taken on,
Okay.
so I'll have to check with him.
So we'd like to get the agreement executed. And then, we could have a kind of a post-closing with the as-built.
Okay,
So I don't want to hold up getting this executed. We gotta, the building is already going out now for regular usage. Once we get this executed by June 1st, I believe the billing would start the first full quarter after execution of the agreement. So it looks like it would be September. The 20 years clock would start, something to that effect, but I can confirm that with Brenda.
okay. Yeah, the other thing Bill mentioned to me is that he'd like us to re-execute it and have it notarized.
Yeah, so we had all of ours notarized, and unfortunately, they do not notarize at the town hall anymore, that I'm understanding. There's a new requirement that we were unaware of, that notary at the town hall requires notary insurance, and they did not have notary insurance. So we went to the Abington Bank in the village and had them notarized our last agreement. So that's what the process was. I don't know if it's still that way. So Carol, if you can find out if there's notary
Okay.
available now or not.
Yeah, I'll help find out.
Okay.
So are you gonna provide us with your notarized signed copy and then we'll sign and return to you? Is that how you want to do it?
Correct. Actually, you execute the agreement, and then we sign all of the pages ourselves. And I believe the town manager is the last execution.
Okay,
So you sign on behalf of Cook. It comes back to us, the three of us sign it. And then we initial and date every page. And then I believe town manager signs the last one.
okay.
Yeah.
And the version that you will have, will you send us the version that you'd like us to execute?
Okay, sure.
Just so we can, I mean, I sent one to Bill. If there's any changes to that, you can let us know what those changes are, and then we'll take a look at that.
Okay, yeah, I'll just make sure that the exhibit A has that 79 unit count on there. Okay,
Okay, great.
with notary. Anybody else have anything? No? Alrighty, thanks so much, Tom.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next up on the agenda is 44 Lantern Lane.
I believe I sent you the email this morning from Pam. I hope I did.
Okay, so Pam is on. I know that we did receive a couple of emails from you, Pam, and Wayne is on. I know that he has more experience over on that side of town with sewer versus septic. Wayne, any comments on this?
Yeah. I made a recommendation that the Board of Health, do a variance for it because it just you've got the safeguard. If their system fails, they'll go right on to sewer, which is available, which will obviously cost whatever the person is that's there. And that may be a case that a future person, people living there can get into a program where they pay over a longer period of time. Now, I assume that they've paid a betterment, or maybe they haven't paid a betterment.
I think they have. I believe the homeowner did pay it.
Okay, so that's so that's taking care of that part of it. So I just think it's probably the right thing to do.
Okay, that's helpful. So what's going to happen at our next meeting? We're going to be down to 2 people. We're going to have an open seat And then one of the members is going to be brand new, first meeting ever. So it'll be helpful to have at least an opinion from another board to help guide them a little bit. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll take care of doing it from the Board of Health perspective.
Yeah, it's up to the Board of Health to actually vote on it, but just like when you have warrant articles, how like the select board weighs in, advisory weighs in, and just to give you a background. So that's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if this is something that should be disclosed to anyone who purchases the property.
Oh, definitely.
In advance of purchasing the property, because I know we had a couple surprises about a year and a half ago with people purchasing some property who didn't know there was a sewer fee due. So I don't want that to pop up again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do you
Yep,
want to make
thank
a
you.
motion? Make a motion to do what I had suggested.
Okay.
Okay. All those in favor?
Paul Kearsey, aye.
Wayne Sawchuck, aye.
Okay.
Okay, so that's
Thank you. It will be helpful for our next
Great.
meeting.
Thank you, Pam. Okay, next up, we have the CJC update. So who's on from CJC? Mark,
Good morning. How are you?
how are you?
So, go ahead. Sorry.
So we had asked Dan Coughlin to put together kind of a punch list of what we feel from our perspective needs to be completed in order to, have that agreement fully executed, and then everything gets conveyed to the town and we're on our way. And he has a list of about 20 items. And I don't know, Carol, did you share any of the lists or the marked up agreements that had areas highlighted? Did you share that with Jeff Delis or with Mark? Or
I believe it was on the original invite.
Yes,
okay,
I have it.
you do. Okay,
I have a copy of it.
okay,
Yeah.
great. So the purpose of sending that out to you is for you to see what we're looking at, and to make sure that these are things that are in the agreement referenced in their paragraphs and sections. Just to kind of go down the list to say, okay, these are the things that we see need to be completed. And then if you want to take that list over the next week or so and update each item that says, okay, item 1, waiting, the tank report re-scrap thing, that might be something the Board of Health handles with you. We just need confirmation that was completed, any
Okay.
updates on building occupancy, that kind of stuff. So where do you feel you are? I would assume you reviewed the list.
Well, I can speak to the engineering aspects of the
Okay.
agreement in the actions here. As for the agreement itself proper, that's Jeff Delisi and Mr. Stasko conversation with
I
those folks.
agree with that. Yeah, there's a lot of administrative things here that we can follow up with them on, sure.
So as you folks drive Route 3A, that was recently paved and restored in the last week. It was final striped on Monday of this week, and the erosion controls were removed. And we'll be applying for a certificate of compliance with the order with the Cohasset Conservation Commission in the next week or so. So we will need that document along with the document from the Sewer Commission accepting the off-site Route 3A sewer work. And we will package that information and we'll present that to MassDOT to have MassDOT sign off or provide a closeout of permit, the access permit. So that's the procedure there for the off-site work.
Okay.
So those are a couple things you have to do before we work with MassDOT. MassDOT's ready. They were out there with me doing the walk, the striping and so forth. So they're comfortable with that. And then we have to upload these documents or the documents I mentioned up into their website system, which is called SHAPS. So we're almost closed out on Route 3A. There's a couple of items I I provided an interim closeout package on September 13th, I believe, to the commission
Okay,
and Mr. Coughlin that contained an as-built of the off-site Route 3A sewer works.
okay, that was item 10 on our list, if those follow.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's, I think we met that requirement there.
Yeah, the only
And I-
requirement that I was looking at there is just a sign off from Brian Joyce. I know he wanted them as CADs. And I hadn't heard back from Brian. I know Brian's on now. If the as-built plans were that he received were satisfactory. Brian, you there or no?
He's on mute.
Well, that's the only requirement basically. It's just, we just wanted to make sure that.
Oh, there he is. Go ahead, Brian.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm at the water treatment plant on my phone, a little problem off mute. But I have not, if you've transmitted them, Mark, I haven't reviewed them yet. Or could you retransmit them? I don't know if it's in a CAD file. CAD file would be preferable.
I believe we gave you a stamped drawing, paper copy, which was done by another consulting firm for RJV Construction. I'll reach out to RJV and try to acquire the CAD file for that work.
Okay, so I definitely haven't seen a roll of paper drawings or anything.
No,
like
it
that.
was a PDF that was sent.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
So I guess in the interim, if you could resend that PDF so it's at the top
Sure.
of my email, that'd be great.
Sure thing. I will do that.
Great. Thanks.
Item 11, I have a question for that one. Operation and maintenance manual for Route 3A sewer. This sewer is going to be turned over to the town of Cohasset. So I would assume the operation and maintenance will fall under the town's normal operation of sanitary lines throughout the town. There's no special requirements for this work.
It is. Mark, I'm just looking for just a quick summary. It could be like a bunch of bullet points on a piece of paper. Just, obviously every design has its uniqueness, whether it's.
There is no
Shells.
unique, Mr. Coughlin, there's no unique, this is a gravity line sewer system. There's nothing special about it.
Okay, so just looking for bullet points as far as what is recommended for this design. And if there's nothing special, I guess basically just say that.
Okay,
But there are some bends, there are some drops, and there might be some areas that need additional cleaning or inspection periodically.
there
And-
is none.
Okay,
There is none. Follow the
Okay.
town's standard operating procedures.
Okay, so we'll just respond to item 11 as
Sure,
the gravity bed line standard operating procedures would apply.
that's
Okay.
perfect. I can write that letter.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good.
So as for, I guess we could talk about the closeout. We mentioned the closeout work for MassDOT. So Concom needs to sign off on it. Sewer Commission needs to sign off on it, and then I bring those documents to MassDOT and close out the permit, the access permit, and they'll do a final inspection. They will not do a final inspection until we have all those documents uploaded into SHAPS.
Okay,
As for the on-site work, I spoke with Mr. Stasko and Jeff yesterday, and I believe they received some wires for the pump stations in the last week, and
Okay.
they're scheduled to be put in for the controls, the control panels. I believe it's scheduled for next week. And Mr. Statsko was on travel, so we were on a different time sequence. So I think he scheduled that work for next week.
yeah, I also received confirmation from George Morgan. They got the cables in for the flow meters. There were two that were still not operational. And they're planning to probably install them on Monday. And then at some point in time, probably Thursday or Friday, we'll go through an official startup with them.
Okay. I wasn't aware of that, so I'm glad you spoke with Mr. Morgan.
so Mark, the other third party in the room here is the Board of Health. Could you give us any updates on the aspects that the Board of Health is controlling, such as, closing out the septic systems and,
I believe Mr. Stasko has that scheduled to dismantle. I think he mentioned the Stop and Shop. They were going to dismantle their septic system.
Okay.
And I don't have the details on that particular, the dates and so forth, but that is on, that work will be done. And it's scheduled through Mr. Satsko and the Stop and Shop people, the facilities people.
Okay.
And I'm sure that falls under the Board of Health regs. So I
right,
believe they'll have,
you're not involved in that aspect of it, so we should speak directly to Jeff DeLeese?
yeah, I'm not involved directly with that, no.
Okay, I don't want to have you speak on their behalf then. I'll just wait.
Last update I had received was that the decommissioning work was going to be done sometime in June.
Okay. Pam, are you have any input there, or where do you think, unless you have a punch list you want to share with us, we could always make sure that they follow through with it, but you need your headset. No.
No,
Yeah,
maybe turning it off and on.
yeah.
Oh,
There you go.
okay. Sorry, it's in and out. I'm having Zoom troubles. Yeah, no, they do have to contact us before they do the decommissioning because we do have to do oversight of that. But I'll get in touch with Mr. DeLisi and just remind him
Okay,
to reach out when they do that work. Thank you.
all right. Awesome. Thank you very much. And then on the administrative side, the commission is going to work on ensuring that there's, the compliance there with Jeff DeLeese. So we'll get together with our attorney to make sure that those other administrative items are in process or completed. Wayne, do you have anything on CJC?
No, I think that's fine.
Okay, does anyone have anything else on CJC? All righty. Thank you, Mark, for.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
And please, if you can address what you're responsible for and reference the item number that are on that list so we know which item it is pertaining to.
Sure.
And
Sure, will do.
if it update, close out, or I don't know, just list it and send it to Carol. She'll send it out to the board.
Yes, will do.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Take care.
Okay.
The only other thing left was the rules and regs, but I don't know if you want to wait for that for Bill.
That's correct. I do want to, and I was hoping Brian was still on, but he is not.
He had to jump off to be on another call at 10.
Okay, so other business topics not reasonably anticipated.
I have one, by the way.
Okay, so I've got 4. So Wayne, why don't you go ahead?
Okay, this has to do with the Atlantic Avenue Bridge by Sandy Beach, of extending the sewer pipe on each end so that the road can be paved. The reason this is coming up now is that new buyers have bought the lot at the Schutz estate there, and a contractor a couple of years ago went ahead and put the sewer connection in, but it's going to the section of pipe that isn't connected to anything. So there's going to be a situation there where he has to either put a new connection and run it down the side of the road, or however Dan thinks it should go, or in fact liven up, make it so that that section from the edge of the bridge to the Sandy Beach is completed, so that the flow would go in and it would go down and it would be shut off at the bridge location. So I can even refer to Dan a little bit about what we should do and stuff. So Dan, do you have any comments on what?
Yeah, I mean, we had revisited this a couple of times. I'm sorry, Brian's off too, but we were trying to get the as-built for the sewer that was placed at the bridge crossing. And we haven't been able to get that yet. We were looking to try to get that in a CAD format, obviously, so we can put together a plan for the connections on both ends with valving. So I don't know, Carol, if you can see if you can get that from Brian. It's basically the as-built plans for the sewer at Cunningham Bridge crossing. And
What's the name of the bridge? I'm sorry.
Cunningham.
Okay.
I had an opportunity to have the contractor that was doing the work on Beechwood Street to go down there with me to give me an idea of what he thought the cost would be. And he thought that it would be in the $75,000 to $100,000 range, which would be right in line with what value probably is.
Yeah, that sounds, it sounds like a good idea. I know I saw a couple emails going back and forth on opinions on that, so I agree with what you want to do. I suspect this is something that would happen where we could execute a plan, and then whatever that process is to execute could happen after July 1.
I don't necessarily think it'd be good to try to do it in the middle of the summer because the traffic obviously there is much greater. And of course, if the bridge can be shut down, the job would take it a lot quicker, which would mean there would be a detour that would go around, such as the one that was there when they rebuilt the bridge. So
Yeah, no, I wouldn't expect construction to start until much later. I'm just thinking about the process because I'm gonna guess that we'll have to have, plans drawn up, get them approved, people have to bid on it. And then we have to say yes. So I'm gonna guess that's a 3 or 4 month process, so.
okay.
All right, so why don't we, put this on the agenda for June meeting, the 7th?
For that bridge?
Yeah, not in 2 weeks, but in June, right? Because that'll give Dan time to go through the plans.
Okay.
And then he can kind of summarize for us what the scope of the project would be. And then we can vote on moving forward with it. And then let the process play out, I guess.
All right.
Does that sound good to you, Wayne?
Right. I think that would be, the house wouldn't be finished to be able to connect on
Right.
by June, so that's fine in terms of timing, but it is something that will have to happen, something. And there are certain fees that were never paid. I don't think there's a connection fee that was paid, even though the connection went in, so that the owners know that there's money due. And I think the owners also think that they may have to, this is the owners, the Shute family, that sold the lot the first time, and then it was sold the second time to a new buyer who's actually going to go forward with the house. That there may be a portion of this work that might have to be picked up by them in addition to the $37,500. So
Okay,
that's something that we can put
perfect.
into the thing.
Okay, anything else, Wayne?
Nope.
Okay, I just have some housekeeping that maybe Carol can help us out with. And Dan as well. One of them is, last year we approved kind of an ad hoc sewer hookup to the temporary seasonal restaurant, I guess, bar, the outdoor beer garden in the village. And I don't know that we ever got confirmation, Dan, that you inspected and did final inspection and sign off on that, because that was a container that was put temporarily in the property. And then they were gonna hook the container up into the existing building next door. And I know that they're open for business, but I don't remember seeing anything from you on that.
No, we never received any notification of work going on there. So, obviously we didn't expect it.
So no one is, okay, so I don't know if Brian's folks did anything or it would be just you.
Very possibly. Typically Brian does the inspections unless he's too busy. And then
Okay,
he'll let me know.
so can, who Wayne, do you think should be responsible to follow up on this?
I think Carol should be able to sort of pull a file out and find out even if they paid a fee that they were supposed to pay and stuff. I don't
Yeah.
know.
What,
Yeah, we-
what's the address?
That's a good question. It's,
Parking way, rear
What is it? I'm sorry?
of 12 parking way.
12
Way.
parking?
Yep.
Parking Way, W-A-Y, yep. Rear. We did reduce the fee based on it being a seasonal outdoor, only open,
Yeah, I don't
certain
remember
hours.
one EDU or a half an EDU or something we did.
Yeah,
At their open house last week, there was a lot of activity. And
Yeah.
it really is a permanent thing. This container and all that stuff, is connected to everything, it's
yeah.
the electricity, it's got the gas line probably, and it has everything else. And so there is
Okay, so,
there may be some fees that are still due. That's all I asked.
yeah, so let's find out if the application fee was paid, and if you can get with Bob Halloran to find out. I'd like to find out from him, because the other two items I have are directly questions for him. I'm just trying to find out if there's a mechanism in place with him to notify us prior to occupancy permits. Because my concern is that we haven't heard anything from Jeff DeLeese on One Pleasant Street. They engaged us about 2 or 3 months ago about the privilege and hookup fee for that property. We haven't heard anything, and the construction's moving right along. So I want to find out what from Bob Halloran where they are, and we want to make sure that Dan's inspecting that, even though it was an existing line, we still have to inspect it because of the change of use. Also, there is property down on South Main Street by St. Anthony's Church, which is 147 South Main Street. That was a change of use that I don't believe he's ever been in front of us, so he's never applied. It has existing sewer. We did cap it because when they tore down the building after it caught on fire, there was environmental issues that people went out to the site, capped the sewer. And now what's there is 3 apartments and 2 retail space. So that's a change of use that we haven't had any application from them at all on. We want to and that building looks like it's almost complete. But we haven't heard from Bob Halloran or from the property owner on that at all. And then once we find that information out, I just want to understand from Bob how he interacts with the sewer department or the sewer commission to understand what's going on, and then at what point does he confirm with us things are done so he can give an occupancy permit. And the reason why I bring that up is because I understand that 55 South Main Street was approved by the planning board to put in 12 apartments and retail space where the old gas station is. They've never come before us either to talk about sewer. There is existing sewer there, but that's a change of use as well. So I don't know, they just recently been approved. So I just want to make sure that as these projects get approved, that there's a mechanism to notify the sewer commission so that we can understand if there's anything that we need to respond to or not. Wayne, do you have any comments on any of that?
Well, I think we should have had an opportunity when they got the building permit, before they got the building permit, to have done something. So I don't know if a year or two ago, I would be the person that would go down and I'd get the plans, and then I would look at them, and then I would make a determination that, yes, we know about it and go on. That I don't know if there's anything happening, Carol, as far as us approving it before the building permit was issued, but there is that opportunity to do it. So maybe we have to
What was the other address you said that they they approved,
55
you
South.
said 147 South Main, and then you said there was another one where the gas station was?
Yeah, 55.
Yeah, 55 South Main.
Okay,
That was just recently approved like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So we have One Pleasant Street.
Right. Now, that may not have a building permit yet.
Okay,
It may be that the planning board made the decision, so that's gonna let them go forward,
okay,
that planning board part of it. And if there are other restrictions, like in sign-offs, there should be sign-offs.
okay.
Right.
Okay, so
So
I just want to know where we are on that list.
yeah, I have not received any requests for sign off for anything that's been a change of use. The only thing I have received was houses that have done some redecorating and changing
Yeah.
up, but no change in bedrooms. So
Okay,
that's all I've received so far.
yeah, we do have a change of use form on our website, so,
Correct.
okay, so we
Yeah,
just
but-
need to follow up with Bob on the, we got to find out on 12 Parking Way who approved sewer hookup and who inspected it. And was the fee paid?
Right.
And then check with Bob on the other 3 properties, One Pleasant Street, 147 South Main, and 55 South Main, like Wayne said, they probably don't even have, they haven't gone past planning board, so that's probably why they haven't come to us, but we just want to understand from him that, you know, we're aware of this construction going on. We need a mechanism that tells us, hey, by the way, they're hooking up to sewer. Do you guys know anything about it?
Yeah,
So,
there's another one, Paul, that is the Habitat for Humanity at, I don't know if it's 800.
yeah, so that was one I was gonna kind of put on the list after I find out from them when they want to start. So that's 808 Jerusalem Road. That had sewer, and they're putting up a 2-family home. So they mentioned to me that, so it's coincidental, but, Habitat for Humanity in the South Shore has an annual gala event, and, it happens to be at the Red Lion Inn this year. To kind of coordinate with the fact that they're putting in a 2-family home in Cohasset. That's Thursday, tomorrow night, from 7:30 on. And so I will be attending that, as well as folks from the Housing Trust. And they just kind of want to bring awareness to Cohasset during their annual event. And we'll find out from them where they are. It's a process where they, you know, before they start going to permitting, they want to make sure there's a percentage of funds to start the project. So I don't know if they have to have 50% on hand, or, you know, 75% committed between cash and direct materials contribution, and then any in-kind contributions and labor. So they'll usually put that together. They thought they would like to start in July to August. And they do have a unique way of doing construction where I believe they're only on site 3 days a week. And it's usually like from, 9 to 4 in the afternoon or something like that. So it's not like they're running 6 days a week trying to get a house built, They go at a certain pace that works for them and their process. So that is the next one up. So they will come to us, I suspect, as a nonprofit to present their plans, and then whatever their request would be. And that property is part of Hingham Water now. It's not Cohasset Water. And I don't think I have anything else. Have we gotten any updates on the harbor project, both properties? Dan, have you heard anything from them?
Yeah, not too much. It's going kind of slow, to be honest with you.
Okay. Because I know there was a lot of periodic checkup, you had to inspect a lot of things over at CJC, but that's because we're putting in a brand new line. Now, over here, the line exists, but I don't know if there's a period of time where you have to go over and take a look at it again.
Yeah, for the most part, we have.
Okay.
that obviously the sewer relocation is complete.
Okay,
The services were connected up. And we did receive an as-built plan for that. There were a couple errors in it, so they redid it and sent it back to us, but we do have a final as-built there. And as far as 124, they already had the connection manholes done some time ago. It's
okay,
just, actual connection to the buildings and, internal connections are still pending. So
Okay.
at this point in time, until the buildings are further along, we've seen everything outside below ground. We just need to confirm how it's tied in on the inside of the building.
okay.
And I have one question about how are our membrane situation? Is that all okay now? Dan, I don't know. You want to?
Yeah, I mean, the last update we had, we know if you were here, but Scott was basically saying he did do the intense clean that was recommended by the manufacturer.
Right,
And he did get good recovery and the membranes were operating well. So obviously, they have been doing two things. One was they have been keeping the mixed liquor solids lower, again, as the manufacturer had recommended, and that's helped. And I think the cleaning also helped. So right now, everything seems to be okay. Obviously, we're still concerned regarding the screening and overflowing of debris into the membrane tanks. They did do a takedown of the tank, and there was a lot of solids in the bottom of the tank. I'd say probably about 1.5 feet of solids were in the bottom of the tank, and that's probably just because the screen and grit system weren't being used for a long period of time. The bottom diffusers were covered over, and they didn't really, they weren't equipped at that time to go in there and clean it, hose it down and clean all that solids up. So that material's still there. But at least we got a feel for, what some of the issues were down there. And, at some point in time, I would recommend that a full tank takedown be done and those solids, obviously be removed. But until we get the screen fixed, we're probably still adding additional material in there. So I think the first thing to do is get that screen fixed and then go in there again.
and have they found any INI and stuff from the photographs that they're supposed, from the the work that the $40,000 that we spent?
I haven't received any report on that. I'm not sure.
So Dan, can you follow up on that? That was a project we wanted to we talked about expanding that.
Well, I just don't know what are the flows now, Dan? Are they still bumping up to 600,000 gallons, or are they all down? And maybe that's something that Scott has to answer.
I mean, on our 12-month moving average, we're fairly low. We actually came down a little. So on average, we're, around 300, 310, I think. So, the average daily flow hasn't been bad. In terms of the peak flows, obviously, now that the green is out there, I think we're going to have a little less inflow and infiltration with the vegetation uptake. But I mean, you got to remember the plant is designed to take over 1 million gallons per day on a peak day basis. So the 600,000, although it's a high flow, is not a really unplanned for number. It should be able to do that if the membranes are maintained clean and the mixed liquors are maintained at a good range. I think the problem was the past cleaning regimen didn't really get the membranes as clean as they should have been. And they were also maintaining the mixed liquor concentrations too high. And the combination of those two things really caused them to blind the membranes a little bit more and not get the production they needed out of the membranes. So I think, at least at this point in time, they've cleaned the membranes good. Hopefully they'll be on a good schedule to do that. And they are maintaining the mixed liquors fairly low. So hopefully they won't have any problems.
Okay.
It's now kind of operating the way the manufacturer had intended. So
Okay.
hopefully we don't see issues.
So going back to the camera work and stuff, has that been? Have you looked at it yet, or is it something?
No, I haven't seen that. I'm not really in that loop, to be honest with you. Typically, Woodard and Curran would provide that information to Brian, and they would interact themselves.
Okay, so.
Yeah.
all right.
We did expand the areas that we wanted them to do.
Right, but it was an emergency that when we
Yeah.
did, and now it's not an emergency, it seems, or we just didn't uncover anything. So I want to know the answer of what are the results of that? And of course, the camera people are gonna, give us a report. It's gonna give us all the videos and all that stuff for us to look at.
Yeah.
But
I can touch base with Rob Scott and find out where he's at.
okay,
Okay.
terrific.
And, he may want to come and do a presentation at the next meeting, so.
That'd be great. Well, that's good for me.
Okay.
Mhm.
Anything else, Carol?
Nope, that's it for right now.
Okay, terrific. So, any information you get on these, 4 properties, we don't have to wait for the next meeting to hear, so you could just email us
We'll do.
updates on those properties, because that's something we need to follow quickly before it goes past us. So, that would be terrific. So, Dan, anything else?
No, not really, just the rules and regs. We want to set up a work session with the board at some point, so
Okay. Yeah, we probably should do something just separate from a regular meeting.
I think so.
Maybe we review them individually and give our comments, and then we can compile our comments and then hit one paragraph or one section at a time.
Yeah, actually, that would be the best thing for me.
Okay,
That way I have 3 views, all independent, and
yeah,
I can really dig into responses.
okay.
Good.
So Wayne, do I have a motion to adjourn?
You do?
Okay, Paul Kears second. All in
Wait,
favor?
first, all right.
Or Paul Kears, aye. Thank you
Great.
so much. All right, remember, it's Mother's Day on Sunday.
Yes.
I just found out the other day.
Don't want to forget that one.
Yeah. And it's Election Day Saturday, so for those registered voters in Cohasset, please go out and vote.
Okay.
All righty.
All right, thank you so
Take care.
much.
Thank
Good luck
you.
on Election Day there, Wayne.
Thank you.
All right,
Bye-bye.
bye.